starting right now.
Of course, we can be OCD and it has to be AV.
So welcome to WX Live. Welcome to WX Live.
Actually, CDO.
Hey, you ready or not? It's recording now.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
Okay. So let me introduce you to the famous Andy and Ben show. They're talking about SCM because why? It's freaking important.
I think it's more like
you guys that are
infamous.
sleeping. Yes, we will record it for you. Okay, Ben, okay, so things you're gonna talk about, these are my questions. So you got them? Okay.
Yes, I've got
I'm
the
moving this
questions.
off. Oh, do you want me to talk about the questions?
No, I've got the questions. We'll go through the questions.
Okay. Yeah, what the heck's this for anyway? Okay. Okay, so I'm moving it off. It's all yours.
Don't need no stinking backups. Who needs backups? Oh, Terry's in here.
Yeah,
I can't say
no.
that.
I've got that in back, so what do I need anything else for?
Oh, you're teasing me now.
Any case.
Good morning,
Yes,
both of you. I mean, all three of you. Four of you. There's four of you in here.
Oh, good afternoon. Good evening.
This is Saturday, March 3rd, 2012, webinar number 13, and we will officially start with Andy and Ben right now.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Okay, let's get going. Good morning, Arnold and Andy.
And
Afternoon
Ben.
or evening here.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, ciao.
Okay, we've got some people here, and let's tell them how great the source code manager is.
Works for
Or
me.
is it? Okay, it works for me as well. And I started off as a single developer using it, and I just said thank you, thank you, thank you so many times, especially while I was learning WINDEV, because I could just roll back my changes. Andy?
Yeah, we actually use it for multiple developers. At the moment, in one SCM I use, I have actually 4 developers that can access it, and in the other one, we have 3 of us that can access it. And then I'm also hooked into the SCM that is for that Glenn Rathke has. So I'm actually able to get into 4 different SCMs, and that's the portion I'll be talking about, is how to switch between them without going and pulling the rest of your hair out. And since I don't have any, I had to find an easy way to do it.
No
Yes,
kidding.
yes. Okay,
That
okay.
is
What
sweet.
I'll do then, that is very good. I've got one project which we are doing multi-developers, but what I'll do is I'll start with how you install this whole thing. Obviously, the source code manager, because it's so tightly integrated with the development environment, they've gone and said they're not going to allow any other database except their hyperfile SQL database to integrate with the IDE and with the source code manager, because they've got something like 97 commands, functions which you can run against a hyperfile SQL database, and I'm sure they're using a lot of that. One of the things which a lot of us will see is when we start up our WINDEV, and more than likely I've now turned mine off, it comes up with a username and password, or you can set it to automatically just show the username and password. Now that username and password it uses in the source code manager to identify who's been working with the code, what they've done, when they've done it, how long they've done it, and all of the other little nice things. Okay, so once you've started your development environment, you can go to your SCM administrator, and there's an option called Tools, and you can do quite a lot of things with that. And one of the things that you can do is play around with where the SCM is, do maintenance of it, repair indexes, import SCM databases, set projects, look at statistics, and all of that stuff. But firstly, setting up a SCM, we go to File, and we select Connect to a SCM database or create a new database. Andy will show us how we connect to different SCM databases, but we will now quickly go and create a new SCM database. And it gives you the opportunity of creating a database with a shared mapped drive. Okay, so let's say you're a single person, you could actually create a database on your local computer, or you can create it on a shared map. I don't know why somebody would like to do that, but I
Network.
prefer the SQL type of environment where you select the server machine which has got your hyperfile SQL server on it, the actual database name, and I just use administrator to actually connect to the HyperSQL to create the database. Okay, so
Hey,
then you just press the create
hey Ben.
and it's done. Yes,
Hey Ben. Hey,
yes,
it's this. Can you actually set up this hyperfile SQL on a remote server, like a shared server?
Yes,
that is
that's what
what
I
You
do.
Andy's
can?
going to show us. Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yes.
yes,
Like
because
like
I've got a
like
problem with
shared
that as
hosting,
well.
you can do that and no problem?
I'm sorry. Say that again, Arnold.
On shared hosting? I mean, it
Yes,
doesn't have to be.
absolutely.
Oh
In
man,
fact,
I
that's
love it.
basically you can, if you had access, you could get to my server via a Dyna DNS.
Really?
That's what I
Yeah, I
do as
love it.
well. Yes,
Okay, okay. I'm gonna set that
that's what
up right
I do
after
as
this.
well.
Okay.
Yes, we will do
Thank
that.
you.
Now, I'm not going to go and create here because I've already set up mine. My Ribbon server is a 2008 R2 server, and I've set up my hyperfile SQL there. I can maybe just quickly log in there. Um, I will show you guys. So there's my hyperfile SQL, my control center, my server, and
Yeah, Ben, wait.
there's
Let it get caught up on this side, okay?
Yeah, you're running a little slow from clear around the world.
okay.
There we
Okay,
go.
now
I'm
we
where
can
I want to
see the
be.
center, control center.
Yes. Now, something important to remember um, is that the SCM database is a database like any other database on your server. Okay,
What do
so
you mean by any other? Like a
it
flat file
falls
kind of?
under the same permissions for a person. So somebody could go and, with the correct permissions on the database, go and delete your SCM database.
Yeah, don't let them do that.
Oh
So it's important that your 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 controls on your database side um, is set correctly. Like admin can go and delete it. If I select somebody else, let's say Darius, they've got settings of what they can do and cannot do on there. Now, they should actually not get anything else than just read the tables from their side. Or there's a SAS utility. He's got no permissions on the SCM database because he's got nothing to do with it. So that's one of the very, very important um, downsides. Well, I won't call it a downside, but a tip which you have to keep in mind. It's the same as any other database. And if you delete it, your SCM is gone. Obviously, what you should be doing is you should be doing your backups. And on your backups, if you're doing full backups, it will obviously back up the SCM database as well with all the other databases.
And I put that backup in my Dropbox folder.
Well, yeah, you can put it anywhere.
Oh, so it doesn't get so big then. So it doesn't
Well, I
get so
got
big.
5 gigs.
Oh, okay.
And my Dropbox is 3 gigs, but my SkyDrive is about 40 or 50 gigs. Okay, so
Do the
now
same
we
thing.
connected to now we're connected to a database through the SCM administrator, and then you can go and create folders. You can do what you want. Now you can do two things. You can work through the SCM administrator, or you can work through your IDE. So I'm just going to go and quickly open up a project. Let's go to that one, for instance. And what I can do is I can book or check out a procedure by doing it through the SCM administrator. I can go and look at the properties, and what's very nice is you can actually see what you're looking at. So if I go to a different thing, let's say I go to a report and I go to the properties, I can actually see the report.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
So I'm not blind when I'm working through this. If I go to history, let's go to something which I know I'm working on quite a bit. Let's go to a client, new era groups. Let's go. You see there, I've got something booked out currently there. Let's go to a mine. Go to that one. Okay, and let's go to its properties. I can see what that looks like. If I go to the history, I can actually see what the thing looked like in different history versions. There you can see it's got a background.
Ben, slow down just a sec, okay?
Okay.
Your screen is behind us.
Yeah, Terry, I'm going to go through a lot of the same stuff too, okay?
Yeah. Okay, can you see the preview?
Hey Ben, while you're slowing down, so when you set up an SCM, say you started with WINDEV 14 or 15, when you go to 16 and 17, does it use the same hyperfile and SCM?
Yes, you can upgrade to hyperfile, and even 14 will connect to, let's say, 16 or 17's hyperfile database.
Okay, so it won't be out of sync then. Okay.
No, it won't be out of sync.
Cool.
Okay, has my screen caught up yet?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see the preview of what you're working with. Now remember, we're in the history here, and then I go to, let's say this is who did it, William. William did that one, and you see then he took the background logo out. And then I went and I put the background logo back in again.
Oh, okay. There's a creation, modification. Okay.
Yes. Now, you can also go and compare versions with each other. And it tells me that there's a binary difference in these versions. Now, if we go there and we take that two and we compare them, there's no actual change between them. If I take that one and I take that one and I compare, then it tells me there's code differences between the two versions.
Wait, slow down. Wait.
And
wait. Okay, now go ahead.
okay, so you can see there's code differences between the two versions and property differences. And if I click on the I, it brings up the standard diff. Tells you what the differences is between the versions.
Sweet.
So there's a lot of things. Now, I'm just gonna go and if I look at the rights, now I can set up rights for users on the whole project, SCM project, or I can set it up per procedure on the SCM project.
Well, that's pretty granular.
Very. So what you can see here is everybody has got a read access. I'm the only one with a full control. Okay.
Okay, I can see it now.
Yeah, you can see that. I'm the only one with full control. The others have got other types of accesses. Now, this is set as the same as the parent directory, or you can specify the rights here for the specific procedure. So let's say you've got a procedure that or code that handles your program security access or password or something like that, and only one developer may develop it, then you can set the rights here so that they can't even read the information. Okay, so that's quite granular. So when I go and I open a project, and I'm just going to open a, let's open that one. So while I'm opening up a project, it doesn't touch the SCM system. When I've got something booked out and let's say I open up a window, it also doesn't touch the SCM system.
Yes, Ben, the problem is WinDev has lots of graphics, and so it doesn't come across as fast as say a PowerPoint.
You just need to tell me when it's there.
We see a batch billing form right now.
There we go. Yes, batch billing. Now you see it doesn't touch the SCM system yet. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and change anything. I want to add a control. Now suddenly it tells me, aha, this procedure is under version control. What do I do with this? Do I want to exclusively book it out? Do I want to book it out for test purposes? Or do I want the SCM system to have multiple live versions which it will try and sort out? And if there's a conflict, then I will have to go and sort the conflict out at some stage.
What do you guys usually do? Keep it
I
on the
do
top?
exclusive. I keep it as an exclusive.
Okay. What's that? When you check it out?
Yeah.
You always do exclusive, but here's the trick to that. Even if you have something out as an exclusive, another person that needs to run a test on a program or compile the program can check it out for test at the same time.
Oh, so that's what that one means.
Right, and that allows different people working on the same project to say, I need to test, I need to have that browse he's working on as its current version in order to test what I'm doing. So he can go get all the latest stuff from the SCM, and if he needs to get in there, he can always check it out for test and run it.
Got it. Because that's assuming maybe he didn't have it yet.
Yeah, maybe a component that is currently checked out, and he needs to have it to run a test or something like that. It's usually what, when I get into that, when I see it's checked out for test, is underneath those circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing is what I can do is I normally do is get the latest version. Okay. And then it gets the latest version for the project. Andy, can you go further on this, please?
On the getting the latest version?
Yes, can you take
basically
on?
Sure, let's pop over and share my screen a little bit, and we'll kind of go over a few things on some of the things I've already had to do.
Okay, so
let me know when it's my share.
Okay, let's see. What request screen? Do you see it?
I need to be second monitor and share. That should be seeing my stuff right there.
Yeah, move your mouse. Yep, that's you.
Okay, yes, I'm seeing your stuff.
See history of element.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yes, I'm seeing Andy's stuff. So go ahead, Andy.
Okay. In checking out anything, when you're looking at getting the latest version, there's a couple little pieces that we have. We have this entire set of bars. Okay. This check boxes here is how you get everything in and out as far as a toolbar is concerned. You can usually always go from your file menu also. But usually what I'll do is that when I open a project, and it's kind of automatic, if you open a project and somebody else has worked on it, or you have updated a particular shared function or shared item or class or a component, it will say, these have been updated. Do you wish a new copy? Then you go ahead and get them. So that's kind of automatic when you open up the function. But let's say the situation is that I'm working on a section and Tim's over here. I mean, Terry's over there working on another section. And he wants me to take a look at it. I can go ahead and go to whatever I want and just go and just say, give me all of the latest versions here of everything that I want. And it will retrieve it all and get all the updates. And I've got the latest version at that point. Okay?
Yes, yes.
And it's fairly simple that way.
What did you click on again?
I normally don't go.
If you go to the toolbar, you'll see these toolbars, and the last one up here is update all the project elements. Now, here's the other key. You can go the opposite direction right here. Check in all the checked out elements.
Does that mean it takes you out when you check it in?
It does not take you out. It just says that you're locked up. Let me move this out of the way and I'll show you what I mean. This is all checked out to me. So if I do this, I'm going to check everything in. It's going to say, here's everything you want checked in. Do you want it checked in? Here's the incidents, comments you want to make, whatever messages you want to do. I don't usually use the messages, but sometimes I'll actually put a comment in, and no snide remarks, Terry. So we'll go ahead and hit the check box.
Require that. I mean, just even SVN, man, you got to put a comment in.
Yeah, we don't have to, but you know, Terry likes to see him every now and then. He's like, "What did you change?" I don't know.
With SVN,
my point exactly.
Information that you get here.
Yeah, and then once you've got it out, if I need this back, all I have to do is check this one, okay? And it will check out that particular item out of the database if I want to. Now, I have set up my project to also, and you can set that up in your project to automatically check out on first change. So when you go into describing the project, which is your project, describe the project, and hit the SCM, you can see where I have the use SCM alone or teamwork is on, and it's all set up to go there. And then it says propose to get the latest version of elements when the project is opened. I have that turned on. That way when I open the project, I can make sure I get everybody's input. Okay? Then the propose to check in it when the project's closed. That means when I close the project, I want to make sure all my stuff gets checked in. So as in the instance of one of our other developers, we're not sitting there at 9:30 at night going, hey, you still got something checked out? We can't do nothing. Okay? Things like that. That solves that problem.
That's happened.
Yeah, it's happened too. And then you see it proposed to check in and check out the latest version when generating the executable, which I think is absolutely important. And then the last is check out, check in the project automatically. Okay? Now, the reason for that is that if I come into a screen and I decide to start changing something, I don't have to, oh crap, I forgot to check it out. It's automatically said, oh, you haven't checked it out. Click the button and you're completely and fully checked out of the system. Okay? And you got everything there. Done. So like in the instance here, and I'm going to go to a different project in my SCM. This is soon going to be an open source. You see, it wants me to check in what I just changed. I'm going to go ahead and check that in. Everything goes in. Everybody's happy. Now it's opening the other one up. And once it's open, I've got nothing particularly that I've not changed, but I've got all of the different areas is all set up and ready to go. Part of the deal is like in the instances, and I'm going to back up to go back over a little bit what's already been treaded by Ben, but in the remote setup, here's a couple things. if you don't plan on using the control center, okay, I would set that locally to your machine. I would not set it up to remote into theirs or anybody else's or even your remote control center. There are two pieces to the hyperfile. You have the control center that you set up, you got the project monitor, and you got the SCM. The only thing I would necessarily set up for remote is the SCM, and here's the reason why. When you log on, and I'm going to open up a brand new one.
Well, I just got confused there.
I understand, but there are two sections here, and this is the reason why I'm going through this.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that's the part that I didn't. Mine auto logs on here.
Right. The logon you got is set up for the control center. Okay? It's set up for the control center, and I can log on two different ones. You can see that I've got a local, where I've set up my local program data, and I've got it up in my database in my hyperfile. Okay?
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. Unless you're going to use the control center, and the control center is defined under deals of trying to do project management, incident reporting, things like this. And unfortunately, I think that from an English standpoint or from a usage standpoint from our side, you know, obviously they use it at PC Soft. It doesn't fit our style of the you know, new methods of scrums and things like that. It's a little bit harder to work through. Okay. So what happens is that if in the instance that we have one at the office and I have one here, this is mine here at my office, home office, I have to have the exact same user ID and password in both. I have two different ones. There's a different one at the office than the one here, and it's caused me all kinds of difficulties. So the smart thing to do is don't use it. Don't use the control center at all if you're not going to use their incident reporting, their project management tasks, and things like that. If you're not going to use the control center, just have it pointed locally so you can get onto your, you know, your environment, and that's it. SCM wise,
Andy.
Yes, sir.
Andy, just one thing. If you're doing multiple developers, and you creating your own graphics and you book your own graphics into the to the graphics area, and you're on the local one, then every developer has got to book the graphics in.
If you're talking about in the graphics where you're picking the graphics from the
yes.
We don't do that anyway. We've got a
we create our own
icons.
graphics.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, it's how it's going to fit your style of what you want to do, obviously. But here's what happens. We went to St. Louis, okay, for our training with Glenn Rathke, which done an excellent job. But because we had to basically come from St. Louis all the way back to Cookeville in order to log on, okay,
yes,
we had a heck of a time getting our internet there. We actually had to use the phones and stuff, our internet off of our phones to make it, you know, to get on there to be able to turn it off, you know, do something locally.
yes.
So it becomes difficult in a enclosed environment, in a development environment, in an office. It's probably not an issue, but in a traveling or a more liquid environment, practicality said, no, that ain't working. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use the SCM because they are two different entities. Okay. So once you set up this portion and you have gotten where you want, your hyperfile control center is where everything else is set up. As you can see here, if I click on, this is my home server here, ccscowboy.dns. Now that is a Dyna DNS. In other words, my home server does not have a hard IP address. It's one of those deals from www.dyna.dns is what it is. And I set up this one to go straightly to this port. As you can see that you now have the general, you have connections, who all's connected in there, the configuration of where you've got things, the different databases that you have, which is the 3 I have there. I have also users and groups. Okay. As you can see, Arnold, you're actually in this one. Okay.
Damn.
A lot of people are. And all I can do is I can edit that, and I can change your password. I can enable it to expire. I can put a description of you. Right now, the groups that you're in is I have set you up for just a feedback group and SCM users. Really, all you need is SCM users. That's it. Yes, I can put pictures of Terry, me, and Glenn. I don't know necessarily that we really want to. I mean, you know, we're only so good.
Yeah, I need to. My screens don't need to crack, eh?
Right, that's the way it is. Now the problem is, see, you got a super user set up, things like this, and that kind of sets up the thing that you want to have there. Okay, once you do that, you can insert somebody brand new. If I wanted to put in Alan Cochran because he's in the group there, I can put in a CHOR. Let me get your name right, Alan. I'm sorry, dude. I get my butt shot here is what I'll do. Come on, where you at? I know you're here somewhere. There you go. COCHRAN. And then put in the password, confirm the password, and just tell him, hey, you know, here's your password to get in. And then he would be in there as whatever I chose him here. Okay? Now, once you're done with that, you can give them the rights. Okay? So if I got Arnold there, and I say, what are your rights there? I've got the rights to do this, 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 and this. Well, he ain't got no rights. Okay?
Why not?
Because.
All right.
So none of these things set up. These are rights based upon how I want them to work this part of the database, not the rights to be able to use this SCM. That's different. Okay? So this is rights for the user or groups for the group admin. Now, if I come down here and go to SCM users, you notice that there's only one defined right, and that's really all they need. Okay? That allows them basically to access. In order to get to the SCM itself for the individuals, all I have to do now is go down to the SCM, and then I can give them rights in here. As you can see the rights in here, I pick SCM users. This is group level rights. And since I've given you those rights, you've inherited these rights. Okay? Rights to add records, right to lock them, right to modify the integrity. Okay, that's fine. It's just different things that you need. These are the default rights that sets you up to be able to add a project to the SCM. Okay? Once you've got the groups, and I strongly suggest the groups, and maybe if you really want to add one extra one to, you know, someone there, you can, okay? But basically set up your groups and then give them the access to the group. You've got their SCM set up, okay? And they can click into it. Now, here's the cool part about this. This CCS Project Pro is in mine. It's absolutely in my project. Okay, that's here locally in my database. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open one up from the office. So in other words, I actually have to go to the SCM at the office, which is about 6-7 miles away, but I have to go across the internet. It's kind of irrelevant whether it's 6 or 7 or 600. And I'm going to open up a new project or a different project that I have over there that's been working. Now, what's going to happen here? Oh, I got that one open already. Let me find one I don't. Well, let me go close that one. That'd probably be better. That's the other thing I like. I can open up several projects at once. It is so cool.
You're just a power broker, man.
Well, I got 16 gigs of memory, so if I ain't got 20 things open at once, I'm concerned. You know, I just can't handle it. So just ask Terry.
Yeah, but that's more than twice at what you need, eh? You can send me the other 8 gig.
Terry wants half of it himself. So anyway, what I do here, I'm gonna go ahead and close down this one because I want it to actually show you from the get-go. And what I'm going to do is log on to mine and then log off to the other one and show you what happened. Because I kind of have to set this up to show you what happens when you go from one server to another. Okay. So I'm going to open up one of my local ones. Okay. I've already got that one open. Yeah. I know. Quit fussing with me. I need a small one. We'll do the page loaded test I had running. Okay, so we got that one open. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change again, and I'm going to open up a different one. Okay. And what it will do is tell me that, oh, do you have this SCM? Okay.
At the moment, I'm seeing. Oh, there we go.
It'll catch up. I got pretty good speed here. So when I open this up and I want to go into this, I'm connected now to a totally different SCM. So if I open up the SCM administrator, you see where it failed to go into there. What I'm going to have to do now is connect to an SCM database. Okay. And I can drop this down and say, oh, no, this is, which one am I in? I'm in parts. So now I'm going to go over to the other database. Okay. Test. Okay. And this one here.
Yeah, it doesn't keep the username and password for the different
Well,
database.
it will if you've been in there once, and if you're going back to the same one, you don't have to type in the password every time if you click this to be true. You can always just test it by testing. It goes in there. Okay. So now I'm now connected to
databases.
I'm sorry?
If you've got 3 or 4 different databases.
Yeah, you'll have to do it every time.
Change the username based on the database.
Yeah, you will have to do it every time. That's correct.
Yeah, yeah. That's the less than one-click part.
Yeah. So now I'm in the one at the office, and I can pull out and open up any piece from the office that I want. Okay? And it's just not very hard to do so. I can also switch it and close this one. And even though I'm logged in there, I can actually have, I can tell it to open up to a different SCM. Okay. Type in my, now you see, notice that it won't let you in now because it's saying, nope, you're logged into one. So what I have to do now is say, give me that one. This is the reason why I say have the same user ID and password in all of your SCMs for what you are. So now I can actually use my other user ID and password that I use at the office here locally because I've added a Stapleton to be in both places. So if you're setting this up, and I know that's probably confusing, so let me back the truck up. If you have set up a personal SCM and you've named it B Dell for Ben Dell, and I say, hey, Ben, I want you to work with me on this project. I want you to get into my SCM. I'll put you in as Ben. Just hit the brakes real fast. Go, stop. No, don't do that. Mine is B Dell. Please use B Dell. Okay? So what happens there is that you don't have so much jumping back and forth. When you log on locally onto your control center, you'll still be able to access my SCM without having to retype everything, a bunch of different times.
So does Ben Dell have to be Andy?
Hmm?
Does B Dell have to give you his password, or can he key it in?
He can give it to me, or I can set it up to expire, and it'll prompt him to put in a new one.
Okay, so that's the way to do it, so you don't have to have.
Yeah.
So they can keep using the same one over and over again.
Well, see, at my age, 5 minutes later, I don't remember the password anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's kind of like this, okay. But you know, the basic thing is now I can switch from 2 different SCMs. I'm currently in mine to go into check out a database, and if I want to go back to the Office one because I boneheadedly got the wrong one, I can certainly go back to the other one here. And all I'm going to do is test it and make sure it says, yep, I'm in there, and I can go right back to the other SCM and check out from there as well. Okay, so I can go from either place.
Very nice.
Okay, and what that allows you to do, especially if you're a contractor where you're working with other remote people, is by setting your control center to be local to your machine, you don't have to go through the slower process of making sure everybody's there. You can have him add you into the SCM and get to where you want. One of the other kickers with this, let me make sure I've got have shut it down. Okay, let me open back up the Hyperfile Control Center. You can literally in here give them the ability. I probably got it open twice. Where you can set up yourself of what they're allowed to access and what they're not allowed to access. Okay. Now you have to log on to your Hyperfile area with admin privileges. If I logged on as Andy or a Stapleton, I would not have the privileges to do anything that I got here, even if I am super user. Yeah, I log in as admin to get this kind of stuff, okay? But underneath the SCM, I can literally, as the admin supervisor, give somebody the rights underneath the SCM administrator here to which projects they can get a hold of, which ones they can see, which ones they cannot. Okay, but you have to log in as administrator in order to do that. Okay, and that gives you the ability then of saying, I only want him in this project or in this branch. Okay, so I can have the branch here and say these people can get into this branch of projects, but they can't get into this other branch of projects. Okay, and that allows you to manage your remote source code management fairly simply from the standpoint of, like in the instance where we're going to be looking at doing this much bigger project and having people from around the countryside as well as the overseas touching the programs. We can simply look at this is the area we want them to work in, and that's it. Okay. I have used this to actually recover bonehead stupidity, where I have actually deleted something I didn't want to delete. Well, actually, I didn't. It wasn't it. We went to a new version, and I was busily working through the new version and got about 2 weeks into the new version, and we realized we had a small mistake from 2 weeks ago. I actually was able to recover from 2 weeks prior the version that was released, changed it, and created a new branch with it at the same time. So basically, I have that version now.
So Andy, so it'd be smart to start this at the beginning of the project.
You can add anytime you want. Okay? Yeah. So even if you have your project already set up, okay? And I don't have any that don't have it, but if I wanted to take this current project I have here, make it, I just go to SCM, and one of them here is add the entire project.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay, and what it does is add everything. Now, don't think, dudes, that this is all you need to put, that you can put in here. Okay, the SCM, I can create a new directory. I can call it My Docs as an example.
My Clarion app?
You can call it My Clarion app. But the thing about it is what I can do here now is I can add files or add full directory. I can come into my full directory and say I want to add in my Clarion templates in here.
That's what I'm talking about.
And now, granted, you're not tied into your WinDev. I mean, it's not tied into Clarion at all, not any more than, than we use QVCS. It's not tied in any better than that is. But the reason why I was saying that is if I'd gone through and created documents on my design, the mind maps, the things like that tells me how I'm going to design such and such, I can add that directory and keep those versions of those mind maps, those items and things like that all translate to my directory. And the way I do that is fairly simple, is underneath each one of the projects, I've got different deal. And here's you can see the scripts. We've added in the SQL scripts for this project in here. Pete and I did. Pete Halstead is a user on my system, and we're working on this Project Pro together as we're going to make it an open source for the entire WinDev community. And we decided that we were going to put all the scripts in here, so we now have the actual scripts for everything that we're working with here. And it has all of you can see Andy and Pete here, and I can say, let's see what we got. No, Pete, you messed up. We'll go back to my version, things like that. And you've got versioning there for all your documentation that you're tying to your particular SCM or your particular project. And what we did is just literally we create a new directory underneath our project locally called scripts. And I'm going to get to that. Let's see. And show you.
You see, the other thing while Andy is busy there is, let's say you've released a project to clients and you forgot to create a branch. You could actually go back to a previous version of the project inside the SCM and go and create a branch out of the history.
That's correct.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
then you can merge branches.
Yeah.
Well, you
can merge it.
I've had people one branch to another.
People that says, I'd rather want to use SVN. SVN is not a patch to this. There's no way that you can really think of not using the SCM system.
Yeah.
SVN, it's yeah.
Okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. You see, I got the DB scripts here. That all it is a directory that I put underneath the same directory, my directory structure for CCS Pro. But here's the documentation. Let's say I put in some documentation in there and I want to store it in the SCM. All I'm going to do is come to here and I'm going to say add a full directory. I'm going to go to the SCM, go to my directory for that. I just want to show Terry I really know how to do this.
You're doing a webinar for a pay rise now.
Yeah, no. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to click on documentation. Okay, I'm going to click on documentation. I'm going to say okay. Now what happens is it says, okay, here's the parent directory. This is the remote directory we're going to put it in. Here's the local directory it's tied to. Now that local directory, it doesn't matter. You can have a different local directory than me. Okay?
Yes.
So it doesn't, you're not tied to the fact that it has to be that particular directory. You can put it in any directory you want. And then click the OK button, and what happens is it will then look through and pick up everything that's in there, and now I have the documentation. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I can add anything I want. Now I have a tendency to put those directories right underneath in the same project that I have, but that's just me. To go over a couple more things that I think is absolutely important, okay, to your SVN or SCM rather, you can share items. You can share any item from one project to another, or you can copy it. So if you've already built a piece that you like, you can share it from one to the other. As in the instance here, you notice that I created a project called repository. Repository for me is everything that I want to share between multiple projects. Things that either I'm going to copy or things that I'm going to say, I'm going to keep a shared copy. You'll notice that I got my global var class and I've got my equates class. Both of them are there in the repository. Wherever I go, I can go up here and say, share this. And you can see by the little icon where it has multiple deals that's being shared. I can share it with a project. By doing so, if I change it in that project, everybody will get that change. Okay?
Yes.
So if I'm working on a big, large project that is all mine or something like this, I can use the repository to move it between components, different EXEs that's belonging to it, web, mobile, whatever I need it to do. And this is a slick way to do it, because if Terry's getting it and he says, oh, I need 3 more equates in there, he puts the equates in there, I automatically get it in mind the next time I open. Okay. Let's take it one step further. You'll see up here I've got the template control ACD for add, change, delete. I created the template control for my add, change, delete buttons, and I added it here to the repository. Now here's get out of there. Here's what happens is I want to put that add, change, delete button here, and I don't think, have I done it? Yeah, I've already done it. I've already downloaded it. But so you see, I've already got the add, change, delete here. But if I wanted to bring that ACD down, I can go SCM. I can say import an element from the SCM. I go up to the SCM where it is. I go down to my repository, and I say, oh, give me that one. Give me the save cancel. When I can either share it or I can import a copy. If there are things that I'm going to pull from them and I'm going to edit to fit this particular EXE, obviously I want to import the copy. Okay? Yeah. But if it is something like the global var class, which I'm sharing between a bunch of things dealing with our products for our company, then I'm going to share that instead, so that way I have everything that everybody needs to change in those classes. New methods, things like that is all there. And this allows me, to set things up properly the way I want. I'm going to go ahead and get the close out because that's one I want. I'm going to import the copy of it. It's going to say, here it is. You notice it says automatically checking out the project. That's turning on that in the project mode to say, yeah, I want to check out this project, okay? It's going to go through that process, and you'll notice now I have control, close, help is here, and I want to check it out and synchronize it. And now I have that control is sitting in my system exactly the way I wanted it to look, the way I designed it. So now, when you're talking about the difference between Clarion templates and what you can do in other languages, this is where you're going, wait a minute. Yes, it's just like a template, but the problem is, and this has always been the problem with templates, unless you understood how a template works, the more complicated, the more involved a template, the harder it was to utilize it when you had to go outside the scope of what the original designer wanted. Okay? Yes. I built the CCS Cowboy templates, SQL templates. They've been in production for almost 20 years. The legacy ones have. Okay? Still, I get questions on occasion. How do I change the SQL statement? Okay? It's very easy. There's embeds for it. But bottom line is unless you go outside, unless you need to go outside the scope of what's there, you have a harder time. These right here, by putting the repository in your SCM, in doing what you want to do with it, I can change whatever code I want. I can do whatever I want to do with it fairly quickly, save it, and when I save that and it says, okay, I'm done with that, I drag it out and I put it over here, and I've got my close and my help and close buttons here already done, ready to go for this project. Done. Simple. And it's all in my repository. It is a smart thing to think about doing. Organization of your multiple projects and things that you do is very, very simple and very quickly do it. There's another thing from our WINDEV Live standpoint, from WX Live standpoint from us. If we get a common SCM out there that we can all pull from when we need to, that may be the repository for us to share pieces of things that we do. I think it'd be a great idea myself.
Yeah.
Questions, answers. Ben's got all the answers, dude. I'm just here to support him.
Well, no. You're the guy with the answers in this instance. But like we were also, me and William are using this on different projects, and where he builds reports and I do the screens and those types of things. And every time that I do something, it just tells me, hey, there's 2 or 3 new reports. Do you want to import it? You know?
Right.
And it is so nice.
Oh, it is. It's wonderful.
And like Andy, I've also had the opportunity of rolling back a few versions, as well as recovering deleted procedures and code. So that's very nice.
Recovering
Andy,
deleted, yes.
maybe you can go in there.
I've done
SCM
everything perfectly, Ben. I don't have anything to recover.
Yeah, if you've deleted a procedure and you create something with the same name, it actually tells you, you've had a procedure like this before. Do you want to recover the old one?
That
or
is
do you want to create a new one?
Let's see if I got anything like that. This right here is this is something I've been playing with. Let's go here. That's member stuff. Let me. Okay.
You've got something that was deleted.
Mr. Indirection there. That's the wrong thing. Let's see if I can find. Don't particularly have anything in this project here. Well, maybe this one here. Let's try this one.
Hurts to be perfect.
Huh? Hey, I'm trying to do this right here, okay? I'm trying to make Terry proud of me. You know, that's my only goal in life is to make Terry proud of me. So,
you know, I got to turn Terry's mic on.
No, leave him in the dark. It's good.
Okay. He's just been typing like crazy, but he made some good comments. Like when you were talking about this SCM stuff, he says this is a game changer.
Yeah. It is.
Yes.
We've been using SVN for a long time, or QVCS.
SCM.
I'm sorry. No, I was talking about QVCS.
Oh, okay.
Because we also have SVN for a sequel, so I get the 3 of them. We got 3 different ones, and QVCS, albeit it is great for a Clarion app standpoint, it is somewhat sometimes a real pain in the backside, because bottom line, if Terry has one of our major apps out and I need to work on something, we can't. You know, you're an app by app basis. If you have 150 procedures in that app, I guarantee you can't touch none of them until Terry's done or I'm done. That's just the way it is. Deal with it. It doesn't. Nobody is ever in Clarion. I don't know about current versions. We're on 6.3. Has ever done anything as far as the TXAs to a point where it actually worked well. Okay. So the problem dealing with this is that since this is not an all-inclusive application where everything is in one file, it certainly allows it more flexibility when it comes to project management. It certainly allows it much more flexibility when it comes to working those management and sharing things between each other, where literally we can all be working in the same thing with the exception of being in the actual same screen. Okay? And that's the only thing. He's in the screen, I can't get in the screen. Well, that's fine. I mean, that's one screen. And when you're looking at somewhere around, I think, Terry, we're somewhere around a few thousand procedures screens that we have. We have over 1 million lines of code right now in Clarion. It is absolutely, much, much better for team environments for us to be able to pull out one report that I'm working on. He can work on another report without having a report app checked out at the same time. We don't need to do it. I mean, it's just awesome. Okay. One of the things that some of the cool things that we do, or some of the cool things that I've thought about with the SCM, especially dealing with this repository. When you're developing a screen, and I've been kind of farting around with one screen, as you can see here. When you develop a screen or something like that, and let's say that it is your customer machine, okay, it is your customer file, I could actually check that window when it's done into the repository. And literally every time we have a customer file that has those fields, I can basically import the entire screen into my application. I don't have to do nothing because I know it works. Because the connection is separate, so I'm doing a connection elsewhere, and I can have actual deals for customer, user, different things that I know that we use all the time in our, in our analysis. That just allows me to share things across. And if there's one or two extra fields that's not on this, hey, we all got names, addresses, phone numbers, city, state, zip. Put them in there. Share it in your repository. Then when we want a special looking screen, boom, we pull it in, and I don't have to design the same screen that Terry designed in another application. I mean, that's the key. And if I write a report for a customer list, and it has the header the way we want it to look, I can actually grab the whole header, put it in there in a super control. That's right, Terry. The super control would be the example. I can actually put the super control for that header on the report or anything in the repository or in a common deal, and we can pull that down for every report we want, every screen we want. If we got a certain look and feel, we can put it in the repository, and we can share it throughout all the applications that we build for that product. It's absolutely,
so if you do,
it's powerful.
And Andy, so if you do tweaks of what you pull down, the tweaks stay inside your project, but not necessarily.
If you say import a copy.
Okay. But
that would be the key.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the only time you can be. So can you change your mind and say, "Oops, I'm going to tweak it"?
Yeah. Well, I've never tried to say share and then unshare. I haven't done that yet. Okay.
I've done that, and it actually works.
Oh, it actually works? You can tell it to unshare?
Yes. It does work.
All right.
There's another little thing that you need to keep in mind, which we found with multiple users. Andy, if you could, are you done for now?
If you want to switch back to you, that's fine.
That?
Okay.
Yes. If I could quickly switch to that.
Okay, let me. Well,
this is important. This is something that we picked up that was an issue for us.
Terry, if you unshare it, it would not remove your custom code. If you go back and say go get back the deal from SCM, yes, it would remove your custom code because basically you're overriding it.
Oh, he'll whack it, huh?
Yeah. Well, you're telling it to basically go get me a previous version, go get me another version I had up there, and say overwrite what I got. So
can you go save the share?
Go ahead.
Are you guys seeing anything?
Now remember your version that you checked out. I'm sorry, Ben. Just a quickie. Remember the version that you imported into your project is going to get saved in the SCM for that project. Okay. So you'll have that history there as well. So even if you lost your custom because you imported it again, you can go back to your SCM and pick up that chunk of code out of your history.
Yes.
Or I guess you can tweak by doing super controls and just tweaking by adding more stuff rather than.
Yeah. Well, to me, the super controls and things like that, like when I was doing the control templates and stuff up there, those are more I would import in. I would not necessarily share. But
really?
the global variable class and stuff that I would, well, because there's always something specific to my particular application. I want the look and feel of the buttons, and I want certain things that's always there. Okay? That's what I'm looking for. The specific code for my application I want to be able to put in.
Well, I was thinking about like report headers and footers. If I variabilize everything,
then do it. You can share those.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
you can share
that's
those.
What I'm thinking.
Absolutely.
Okay,
question from Chris. We got a question from Chris. Once a procedure is placed in the repository and used in an application, if the repository is changed, does the application change as well, or does it need to be updated manually? Chris, if you have shared it from the repository, you can push your changes back to the repository. It'll ask you to update those. And when you open up another one that is using that shared, it will ask you that it will say that it's got a new version do you wish to download. So yes.
Kind of like a Clarion template, right? Because it needs to recompile.
Yes.
And pull the changes.
If you're using the software factory, it actually pulls out the latest versions from the SCM automatically.
That is true too, yes.
Remember, the software factory is remote compiling, where you just sit and develop, and you've got a agent running which does your compilations for you, does your unit tests for you, and actually emails you if there's any problems which has arisen.
Yeah, we haven't got into that yet. We're going to set up a virtual machine for the software factory. And as we start our redevelopment, we're going to start using that.
Sounds like a winner.
Just quickly here, what we're looking at here is in your source code version control. If you go to Tools and Options, you've got the ability on the Advanced to actually, what they say, they limit the packet size for ADSL. Okay, it will catch up now. So what it actually does is it actually compresses the packets by either deleting data out of it not needed or some other algorithm, and it actually speeds up your connection over ADSL. Another thing which we're doing here is we've switched on the messaging. So what we've got running is we've got the messaging running. So whenever William, for instance, books something into the version control, it automatically sends me a message, an email message, telling me William has just booked in the following 3 reports, or he's booked in the following report, or he's worked with these reports. So it actually pops up as a pop-up little thing telling me that there's new information into the version control. Okay, but what we did find is at some stage we found that William's version of the project and my version of the project differed from each other. And then we went and looked in the documentation, and we actually found that there's something that needs to be set up on a project if it's multiple developers. In your workshop, your project, in your once you've got the project open, you go to SCM and you go to project management, and then you will see there's a few options. Now we've got the manage the checkout automatically. William and me were both set as let me just show it. We were both set as guests to the project. Now what happens with a guest is a guest can check in what he's been working on, but he cannot always check in everything he's working on, and he doesn't always check out everything that the project manager has been working on. You understand what I'm getting at there?
Mm-hmm.
So what we did is one guy becomes the master of a project, it's not giving me that option now because I'm already master of the project. But any new developer you add can become a guest of the project with the rights of a guest, which is way less than a developer, or you can check so that everybody handles the check in and check out automatically. And then it doesn't matter who's master or who's guest on the project. The system handles the checkout and the check-in automatically for you. Then the second thing which we found is we want to change our style sheet. So you've actually got to come to the project management, and at the bottom there you can check out the style sheet, create new styles, create new themes, and then check the style sheet back in, and then everybody gets updated with the styles, obviously.
Okay.
The most important thing is if you get out of sync in projects, it's either because everybody's just guests or somebody's a master and a guest. And all you need to just make sure is that you actually do the checkout automatically. And that was the only problem that we found with the SCM. And it's because we didn't understand how the master guest situation worked.
Hey, go down and click on the branches. That's one thing to discuss just for the moment. Just highlight the branches for the menu items there. At any time in your project, if you go from a release version and you're ready to go for a new version, okay, these are the key parts. I can create a branch at this time if I wanted to, and that would be my released version of this product, okay? So I've done the final compile. It's ready to rock and roll. We're going to throw it out to the public. Merry Christmas. We're off and running. You can do the create branch, and what that will do is create a separate branch, allow you to rename it, put it where you want, and go from there. Okay? You can open that branch separately from the program you have now. So let's say there's a bug, you've already released it, and you go back to that branch. You can go back to that branch, and you can change the software to fix that. Now, obviously, the first thing in your mind is I went to a previous version and I got to make the same change in my current version. There's your second menu item underneath there, which is retrieve the modifications from a branch. Okay, so if you pop up there, back to that menu item there, will you, Ben? You may have to close what you got there.
So Andy?
Yeah.
If I understand it, so the regular tree is the continuum of your project development, and the branch is where you say, okay, I'm closing this version off, but as I'm doing that, while I'm still doing new development, I can make corrections.
That's correct.
On reported items?
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, nice. I like
that.
that.
And that's one of the key things, because and Terry will tell you the same thing, is that we released something just this last week and got in there and found, oh, this one piece just did not work like we thought it would, and we had to make a quick change. Well, we could not do any new development. We couldn't really start any new development until we fixed that problem and released it again. Okay? So in this instance here, if we cut off a branch and we find a particular problem that we have to go in there and address, we can literally go ahead and fix it, reset the branch, send it out, and then use the retrieve modifications from a branch to go get those changes and bring them into the current version.
Yes, and you can do it from branches as well.
Oh yeah, go back 2 or 3 branches if you wanted to.
Yeah, so you can branch, even a branch you can branch as many times as you want.
Now, I don't know how far you would necessarily take this. I think this is more or less, to me, if I get into a situation where you're under a hard deadline and you got 5, 6, 7 developers working on something, they're ready to release, you're sitting there going on into the next version already, going to work on a whole new deal. So you created that branch and say, okay, we think we're done. We're going to put this out for beta test. So we created the branch. It's out. Okay, 2 people are now working on the next feature. that we're going to put into the product, and all of a sudden the beta comes back with 4 or 5 bugs or 6 bugs that we got to fix. 2 or 3 of the developers can open that branch, continue to work on it, and then when they're all done and it's ready to release, we click the second button, retrieve the modifications, and boom, bring all those fixes to the current branch.
And that's not only just code, that's the analysis also?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Because that's where I could see adding new tables or field.
It's really, really cool stuff. I mean, the amount of things that, depending upon the size of your organization, the number of things that can be in progress development is phenomenal, because you can literally, minute a branch is cut off for testing, you can start on a brand new project that's not going to be in there. I got one guy working on a project 4 months from now that's going to be released 4 months from now. He's working on the new branch already. And not anybody's waiting around for that to happen. He's already designing it. He's already doing what's necessary. And this really covers this. It really does cover a lot. The amount of things that just pop up in my head of what we can do is amazing, and Terry's already trying to find the anchor.
You see, what I also do is, if I go and visit a client, for instance, and it's still a project in development, I actually disconnect for mobile use. So I can open up a project, I can go and disconnect for mobile use, I can get the source code out of it, and off I go with my laptop to the client, and I can actually input information into the project, come back and sync the project back to the SCM. Yep. And the rest of the guys can continue development here, which means that it's got its own built-in synchronization as well.
Yeah.
And the SCM system can also run on a HyperSQL cluster.
Yeah.
So,
which I don't have one of those.
There's absolutely, it's mind-boggling what you can do with it. National borders and being in a different country, those types of things don't exist anymore. Now we are only limited by our upload speed.
Yeah, and I think it's fairly quick myself. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, like I said, in St. Louis, we had 3 people on my phone using it. Out of back in Cookville. So, I mean, it wasn't that bad at all.
Okay, now just the last thing which we're going to quickly look at is the policies which you can set. Now what I've done here is I've gone to the SCM, and at the bottom, once the screen picks up, is a check-in policy. So let's say I've got contractors working for me, or I've got people working for me, then I can go and set up policies for checking in code. Okay, so he must be able to compile the code, and there must be no compile errors before he's allowed to import it, or no compilation warnings. Okay, or any element that gets checked in must be associated with a task or an incident, or a comment must be entered, or the automated test must run, and there must be no errors in the automated test. And if code metrics, let's say that the rate of comments in the code, let's say I look at the 10% comment against code, or things like that. It's unbelievable. What? So,
what?
Shut up, Ben.
Oh, Terry just jacked it up to 20.
Cut him off, Cut him off.
Any case,
mute that boy.
So this is where Terry is gonna go look at what Andy's doing. Any case, so there's people that say, okay, it's a very. The other day I read a comment about the guy that says, WINDEV, it's a piece of junk.
He's full of it.
That hasn't
it's a toy.
Really done anything with it, eh? It's a toy. Any case, so this opens up, and I don't think we've even touched close to half of what you can do with this, or even a quarter of what you can do, you know?
I think that there's still a lot of open doors and a lot of open areas that we haven't explored yet on it. And so far, I'm just, you know, I've got a plethora of things that I want to play with and do in dealing with different areas. And I think it's just going to be one exciting time that I personally haven't experienced since, to be honest with you, the 90s.
Ouch.
Yes. Yes,
Well,
I
have had
can
no
go
fun.
with that one now. You
Brenda,
see here,
what's
right
going
at the
on there?
bottom, the
But
second
we're not
last
talking
tick
about
here,
Linda.
that is the Andy tick.
Talking about development.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see this last tick here? This is the Andy tick. These rules can be ignored.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah. Let Terry put it at 50%. We're just going to check that.
See, now here's the problem with doing that. Now, there may be something that I need to check in that has bugs in it that he needs to fix. He'll never be able to get them.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And then he
Good.
ticks, a comment must be entered.
Oh,
So
now
we've
you're
covered
doing a
that one
comment
as
must
well,
be entered.
Andy.
Ben,
Okay.
Ben, you're gonna
Okay,
get shot.
Ben.
I'm just telling
Yeah,
you, you're gonna get shot.
Listen. You see, when you pay the salaries, you get to make the rules.
He doesn't pay the salaries.
Hey, so Ben and Andy, this is all really cool stuff and a lot of stuff, and we can see more. But if I or like Alan, okay, he and I, we go start a project, each of us our own, projects.
Mm-hmm.
What are like the top 5 things, or what are the top things we need to do to set up a project where we're using SCM? Can you
Well,
kind of
the
just
first thing
itemize
is
it?
switch it back to me, and I'll create a new project real fast.
Let Andy do that.
And because my screen's a little faster than yours.
Yes, definitely. I need to sharing. How do you do that? Ask Arnold to stop sharing. There we go.
Okay. Let me share my screen.
I'm just going to mute myself for a few minutes.
Okay, you should be seeing my middle screen now. You ready to go? Am I working locally, Chris? I have my server next to me. It's still kind of I can work remote or locally, either direction. Terry does like to see me in the office every day. Well, I'm on cable. I've got 5 megs or something upload. Yeah, speed is good. It really is. I'm impressed. Well, believe me, after living in the hill country of Texas on DSL, this is wonderful. In creating a new project, because this is one I'm gonna have to do for the wife anyway, because she got a little software package I built for her in Top Speed a long time ago. And but in creating a new one, I've already, obviously you need to create your SCM already. That needs to be already done. But when I do a new project, there's certain things that I'm going to do here. Is number one, when I click the new project, I want to know where it is. Now, I don't particularly like having the C: my projects. I just don't do it. It's not something I like. So I'm going to create her new one, and I'm going to put it into my area so I know where it is. It'll automatically now has it set up. There's a comment just for Terry. We're going to take that. Do I have any documents I want to put in there? Add an existing one. Generate. I don't need anything like that. What's it going to be? I don't even have to do anything. I can just say, I don't care. I'll do what it is. But it's going to be an application for Windows. It's going to be on the Windows platform. And the start date. Now, here's the deal. I can do teamwork. Okay. and say no. And I think this is part of the problem with the guest and ownership bit. I've never created one with a teamwork yet, even though that we have teamwork at the office. I've always done it. Work on my own, describe the teams later. This is where you get in the SCM. I want to use an SCM, or no, I don't want to use an SCM. Well, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to click enter. Now, I actually, and I know this is a shocker, I've actually created my own charter. Okay, and I think that as another WINDEV live seminar, I want to go through that a little bit with everybody to see, show how that works. But I want, just to show you, that actually I do use a charter, and then I'm gonna pick the style that I want, and I'm gonna say the size, and go from there. I'm gonna use English, and now I'm gonna say nope, I don't want to use a database at the moment because it's a TPS, and I don't want to go for it. And I create it. Okay. Now, here's what happens is now I got the wizard for adding the projects into the SCM database, and what happens is I've got where I want to put it. Since I had two set up, I can go to either one. This is going to be local. It is client server. There it is like this, and I'm going to test. We'll see, I'm good. I'm connected, so everything's cool. I hit next, and now it comes all the way down here at the bottom. You'll see that it says a star right there. Okay, this is the new remote directory will be created. I'm going to put that underneath my CCS, and all I'm going to do is click here. That automatically moved that star in the middle of that. It's not a drag up and put it where you want. It is click in the directory that it's going to be. Okay, when that's done, it says, okay, we're going to put that stuff in there, and we're going to put that stuff in there, and we're going to say we're ready to add it to the database and rock and roll. Okay, I can create a window now. I can go to the editor. I can do whatever I want to do. I'm a happy little camper, and I can start creating Belinda's stuff. Make her happy. Fairly easy, fairly quickly done. It's not difficult at all. Okay. Now, if I want to share, and here I'm going to go ahead and take you to the steps here. I'm going to go to the SCM, and I'm going to import an element from the SCM because I want my global variables. So I open up the SCM, I bring it down to my repository, and I say I want my global variables and I want my equate class. I'm holding down the shift key and I'm highlighting both of them, or control key, just like Windows code, and I'm going to share the two of them. Checks in and out. Now I have both of those classes there, and I can open it up. I've got my add, change, delete class part right there for my equates, and I got my global variables is what I got there, so I can change those as I want. Okay. Yes, I did it as a shared opposed to a copy, because if I go in here and I decide that I want a new equate, so I just added a view only equate, right? So now what happens is that when I close this, you say, do you want to save the modification? Yes, I do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check everything back in. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say check in all the checked in out elements. See, it comes up now. I'm going to check in the equate class. Okay. Now, let me go to my other project that is also using that. Okay. And what it's going to do now is it's, if I go up there to, and I should have it in this one, I believe. Let me make sure. No, see, I don't have the class in here. I have to find which one I have of that class I'm using that class into. I bet you I know I have to. Am I doing it? Probably Hog Manager I am. Let me see if I'm using it in here. Nope, I'm not. I got to find a different one I'm actually using it in. But what happens is when you open it up, because it was changed, then it will say, hey, this has been updated. Do you wish to get a copy of it? And you'll get that copy is what will happen. Okay. And it's just real simple and workable, real easy to work with. Real easy to work with.
But not everybody will have the rights to go update the global vars and stuff like that, right? I mean, depends how you have
No,
that set up.
I mean, again, you can set the rights on whether they're able to actually change the class at all.
Yeah.
Okay, now they could import a copy and do whatever they want to do with it. Okay.
Well, I'm thinking of the WX Live repository that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So if we put stuff up there and we share it down.
Well, what you want to do is be a little bit careful, obviously, because one of the things we're going to talk about is this Project Pro one that Pete and I's been working on. And basically what it is, and I'll give you a little bit of an
I don't know if you finished your thing. I'm sorry to.
No, you're fine. Basically what it is a replacement setup for the CCS, for the feedback module and project management. Because basically what it's doing. I got something else open here. Let me close this. Is just a second here, guys. There it is. It allows you to put your own feedback module in there because we're setting it up to be able to email to fog bugs as well. Things like that. So you can set up however you want to do your own project management that way, basically is what it is. But let me kind of show you what it is. We got a feedback module where I can check and see that I want to do the Project Pro management. I've got it here. It lists up all the incidents that we could have for it, which there isn't any. I can then go to requests for it, things like this. Go back to the projects. Let's go here, or no, maybe it's here. Let's try that one. Then you got all the different projects you can work with, and I can go through the incidents on it. Oh, fine. Okay. We can go. Now you can see all the incidents here, and you can change it. You got version fixed in, different things like this. Who made the request? The project leader. Assigned to whoever it is, completed like this. And we've been working on it. Pete and I have been working on it a little bit, and we're about ready to put this out for the first version for an open source module that you'll be able to have a component to put into your application and use this to actually manage the project from a way to be able to handle how things are working. Okay. As an open source training project on how to build full-blown applications. Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah, it basically encompasses what they were doing inside their control center in hopefully a more concise, easier manner for somebody that does more like scrums and release mode type development.
Yes, and all the techniques used here, it's actually very nice because it brings all of those techniques and controls and how to use them into one application.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Yeah, right now I'm just trying to convince Pete to do the reports, and he's trying to convince me to do the reports. So I think I'm going to actually add Terry into this because he loves reports. So
I've got some apps that needs reports.
Well, just share it.
Okay.
So
I think
anyway,
that's about wraps it up, eh?
Yes.
Yeah,
we did.
This is pretty cool. I think I was showing the incidents here. Is that what that is? Yeah, that's the incidents. Projects, requests are here, where I have the actual request. specs, whatever I want to do with it, things like that. And it actually gives you estimated times and stuff. There's a few things that we're working with here, to deal with. So we're just we're really we're about done with this. I think that probably as soon as Terry and I get through a couple of issues that we got to get through in this month for the company, I think we'll be better to sit back and then start throwing this out for a series of WINDEV live stuff to work with.
Very nice.
Cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, better show them how to do it before they just go jump.
Well, we'll show. In essence, what I'm going to do is go through each one of the code, why it was built that way, what we did that way, things like this, and then show the results on the screen of what happens. So that way everybody knows how the code works. They'll be documented in the code, things like this. We put it up on a open source deal that anybody can download. They'll use it free of charge. Just make sure that, there'll be a couple little deals with it, but we're actually going to put it out there under the GNU type license, so anybody can use it.
So you're going to tie it to FogBugs, you said?
Well, that's one of the things. We use FogBugs quite a bit. It is our number one thing in TCS, our company that I work for. And part of the deal, I'll actually show you the module. I actually cheat a lot of times, so sometimes it's easier to do it this way. I'll come up here and cheat and go down here and find the feedback. And then I'll hit that and I'll say, oh, do I want? No, I'm going to open it as usual.
Come to WX Live and watch Andy cheat.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I mean, shortcuts is our specialty. We learn them over the years. You know how it works.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to pull up all this stuff here, and I'll show you how that works. Okay. So this right here is just very simple. You're going to have the ability to change this logo. You're going to have this. This is on this whole screen is set up on planes. Ooh, so you have information you can put up here, title, suggestions, report an incident. That'll go to a different plane for either a incident or a deal, which is if you ever use their feedback, this is basically the same exact thing. Okay. The difference is when you get down to send a report, you have a new request or a silent request. These are things that are going on. When I get ready to send this thing, I can, let's see here, right here. I can send it to support. This right here is an XML setup to go to a MS SQL database right now. Okay. But if you send it differently, okay, you can literally have it send the document and as a type to an email address as well. Okay.
Yes.
And the email address for us is going to FogBugs. If we send it to a specific email address in FogBugs, they'll pick it up and put it as a FogBugs method.
Yeah. Got
so
it.
You can go either direction. Now, the last thing I'm building for this is a SOAP request for it. So in essence, what you'll be able to do is set it up to go to either one of three. You can go to an email. You can choose that you're going to use email. You can choose that you're going to use SOAP. Or you can choose that you're going to send it directly to an MS SQL database. It's up to you. Or Hyperfile. Not Hyperfile, but Postgres.
Are you looking at a WINDEV type SOAP server, or are you looking at...
No, I'm going to make a WINDEV SOAP server, yes. I'm going to make a WINDEV SOAP server.
Okay.
And yes, there will be a...
Thanks.
Stay tuned.
There'll be training on it too, excuse me.
Bless you.
Hey, Ben, you should plan on coming to the United States sometimes and see us.
I actually should plan on you guys coming to visit us. We've still got lions in the street, you know.
Yeah, but your internet's too slow.
I
yes, the lions are standing. Yeah, the lions are standing on the cables.
Can we shoot them?
So the electrons.
Ooh.
Are they edible?
Well, I think we
No,
should
the
wrap up.
electrons
Do you
aren't
think?
edible. But
Are
I
you
can
anything
get
to
you
eat?
some lion jerky.
Give me some lion jerky. Yeah, cool. Tastes like chicken.
He laughs as he laughs. Okay. So,
Any case.
this is great stuff, guys. Great. So, we shall. Oh, did we record this? I'm
Hey,
only kidding.
did you record this? I don't want to
Okay,
have to
so,
remember everything I
I'm
said.
glad we didn't do this yesterday because we would not have been able to go this long.
No.
And this is
No, we won't
fantastic.
have.
Yeah. So,
T-minus
Thanks,
stop
Andy.
recording.
I learned a lot as well.
Yeah, so did I.
oh, I learned a lot. Double.
And unfortunately, you taught Terry something, and that sucks.
Exposure's
But
everything.
this is, I think that most guys, speaking about that, I think most guys that's actually moving from Clarion to WINDEV are not the employee type of person, but the employer or single developer. And for
Right.
that type of person, it's actually very important to have these types of controls. Because I think a lot of guys do contract out to other developers for specific parts of projects, and then it's important to know that you don't lose control, you know.
And that's it. That's always been an issue with Clarion development, even from a QVCS standpoint or something else, is being able to get them into your type of version control or something like that has always been a real pain. And
Yes.
this way, you really don't have those issues. You expose you have yourself on a server out there, and you say, okay, I'm giving you rights. You need to get into this project and help us work in these sections, and then you can control what they can do, and that certainly helps in your
Yes.
development. It makes it a lot easier.
And you also control the quality of the work that they're giving back to you.
That is true. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The quality of the work, that is true.
Okay, I'm done from my side for now.
Okay. Yeah. So, thank you again. This is WX Live webinar number 13 with Andy and Ben. Saturday the 3rd. Turning it off. Thanks again.
And you had the
Here we
Ben and
go.
Jerry show.
Weekend.
That's a Ben and Andy show.
See you again soon. Okay.
Wait till you have the
Back
Terry
claps.
and Andy show. That's what's going to be the kicker there. You'll have some fun with that one.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now.